You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You push play and they'll push the limits.
Hey, it's your boy Tom here, and we are back with another episode of the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast. Woo! It's been a big weekend in the wrestling industry, boys, as I see our boy D got his AEW shirt on. I don't even want to talk to y'all.
You know what? Because you don't want to talk to us, we ain't even gonna talk about it. We just gonna let it slide. We just gonna let it slide. We ain't gonna talk about it. We ain't gonna address it. We ain't even gotta ask what you did this weekend because we know we don't want to trigger you, Tom. We could just go right into the podcast,
right?
If that's what you want to do. Because I understand that there are some people here that are upset and wasn't able to make it to certain things. AEW, and I get it. I mean, we could kick this thing off with wrestling. We could kick this thing off with Sha'Carri Richardson. I mean, we could kick this thing off about Tom just being a homebody. I mean, we could talk a lot of things today. Which direction, Tom, do you want to go in? Since we're not going to talk about what we did this weekend because we don't want to trigger you.
I do appreciate you guys doing that, even though, because I've already been missing our WrestleMania trips, and then y'all just going to go and watch CM Punk, whatever, but it's okay. I ain't going to say nothing. But while we're talking wrestling, let's just go ahead and jump into wrestling. I want to hear what y'all thought about this CM Punk pop. It was trending on Twitter all day. Happy CM Punk Day. What did you guys think about it? Was it everything you expected?
Absolutely. It was actually more than I expected. And I'm going to go first here, Gary, because I'm the CM Punk fan here. I mean, you're kind of a Punk fan, but not really. But like, I'm a Punk fan. Like, since before the pipe bomb, because I thought his mic skills were absolutely unbelievable. But I'll tell you, it was absolutely electrifying. And having him get on the mic and talk about, what he's gone through in the 7 years and hear him talk about, being mentally and physically and emotionally out of the game, like completely tapped. Like, I've been there. I know. I completely understand where he's coming from when he was saying he was completely tapped and he wasn't good for wrestling and wrestling wasn't good for him. He stepped away from 7 years. He got what it is. He had to get together. Obviously, he had a baby with AJ. And, I don't know when she's coming back, but obviously they had the baby and they had the family. He dabbled in some other stuff, but ultimately we know that wrestling is the cream of the crop as it relates to CM Punk. And seeing him come back and being so thankful for being in the situation that it is, because he's over. He's more over than any wrestler, in my opinion, that has ever wrestled. Because for 8 years or for 7 years in stadiums and gyms and arenas across the world, CM Punk was that name that everybody would chant and say when they was disagreeing with authority or management. Because, obviously WWE didn't want it on their site, but you can't help it if everybody chanting that during a boring match. And, it led Stephanie to say something once or twice or a few times or whatever the case may be. But this is how he's transcended wrestling, because his shirt went on sale completely after when he took his hoodie off and completely sold out in like 15 seconds. The line was around the building, upstairs, downstairs, and in other locations just to get his T-shirt. And they were selling it online for 4 or 5 or 6 times, his price. At this point right now, September 5th, it was already sold out before CM Punk was even announced on the card to begin with. And not only did they announce him on that September 5th card, but he's going against Darby Allin, who is in a faction or has a ring guy by the name of Sting, one of the biggest guys. And we're sitting there and we're watching CM Punk in the ring in Chicago, and there's Darby Allin and Sting and the Raptors, and nobody's chanting for Darby Allin and Sting. And these guys are really good wrestlers. But because of what CM Punk, in the wrestling business, paid the ultimate price, because when I say he paid the ultimate price, he got wrestlers better contracts because of what he wanted. And it kind of transcended sports. I mean, he did that, and he paid the ultimate price by sitting out 7 years and coming back. And now, he's only for the fans.
So, Time, does it sound like D had something to say about CM Punk? He went on a long rant, huh?
Just a little bit. For a
When this
second
is
there,
more
I thought
about
he was talking
local
about
wrestling in
Undertaker.
general this weekend. There was a lot of wrestling this weekend, obviously, and there's even more because of NXT was last night as well. So you have 3 days of wrestling, and they've all tried to top each other. Obviously, you had CM Punk coming back on Friday. You had guest appearances by Brock Lesnar on Saturday. You had Becky Lynch coming in back on Saturday.
Boo!
Boo!
I love Becky Lynch, but that was
Boo.
terrible. We'll give it to her. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But that's the thing is so I will say CM Punk coming back was probably the biggest thing for wrestling. I will say it hurts me to say this. It pains me to say this. WWE had a good job when Cena came back. The pop was outrageous, and I'm not a Cena fan, but because he's been gone in movies and people love him still, he got a great pop when he came back trying to do his title shot with against Reigns at SummerSlam before all that. But I will say, like you said, CM Punk's been gone for 7 years. So everybody's been clamoring for him versus been gone for a couple months or a year. 7 years is a long time, and especially when somebody who was like in his prime at that point and decided to walk away. So it is definitely going to be interesting to see how they handle everything and they deal with everything. I think it's a great match with Darby Allin because I think Darby Allin and him can put on a great show because there's no limits. They'll do everything. Darby Allin's already proven he'll do anything he needs to do because that's what he is. And then, so just in general, I thought this weekend was good for wrestling in some parts and bad in some parts. Obviously, AEW was a show. It wasn't a pay-per-view. The biggest thing was CM Punk being back. The rest of the matches were very lackluster, to be honest. They weren't very entertaining. Squash matches, nothing super crazy. Yeah. SummerSlam had a couple decent matches and then they had the terrible squash.
Just real quick, who was your favorite match in SummerSlam? Like, who would you give match of the night to? And against everything that happened in wrestling this weekend, who would you give the match of the night to, or the match of the weekend to? I'll give you some time to think about it. But Tom, what do you think about the wrestling just overall for this weekend, and then kind of ponder that question that I just asked Gary in terms of best match of the weekend?
Well, for me, obviously, I think CM Punk's return was the biggest, and like
match. That's
I
not a match.
I know. Well, he said in general first.
Oh yeah, in general, yeah. You got to talk about. Go ahead, Mom. I'm sorry.
Dang, can I live out here? So I was gonna say is So obviously, CM Punk, kind of like what Gary, alluded to. The time is just the biggest factor there. So he's been gone 7 years. It'd have been like if Barry Sanders retired and came back and played for the Packers or something. It's crazy. So everybody hype, that he's back. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Is it going to be one of those where it's like he's going to come back and everybody's going to be like, oh, now he messed up his career because, he's not everything we thought. Because, we talk about it all the time, like leaving on a high or like retiring on a high. Is he going to come back and continue that and continue to reinforce why people love him so much? Or is he going to come back and people are going to be like, oh, wait, this isn't what I thought CM Punk returning would look like. So that'll be interesting for me to see moving forward. My biggest, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, disappointment for this weekend is definitely what they did to Bianca Belair during the Becky Lynch match, or, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. Like, what in the world? I mean, I understand you want to bring Becky back and everybody's excited to have her back. But to do that to Bianca?
No, I agree. I think it's just they straight squashed her. They built her up so much for the last basically almost a full year. They've been building her up and all this stuff, and it just didn't make sense. And it was very, I guess, cluster because everything built up was Sasha versus Bianca, Sasha versus
Yes,
Bianca,
yes.
everything. And
What
then
happened to Sasha? What happened to Sasha?
nothing was ever truly said. They just said she wasn't
Yeah.
going to compete. So nothing's truly came out about it. And then you
Right.
just gave Becky Lynch the shot to come back, and then you squash Bianca. If anything, you just have Bianca win, and then you have Becky Lynch come out at the end and say, "Hey, I'm back. I want my shot at the next pay-per-view." And you set it up because to me, you just ruined everything you did with Bianca. All credibility with Bianca is gone now, in my opinion, because you just ruined it. She means nothing. Nobody should be able to beat Becky Lynch
Yeah.
because she just dominated everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what happened in my opinion as it relates to the wrestling business. Everybody in the wrestling world knew that CM Punk was coming back on Friday. They just didn't know how it was going to be announced. So from what I was told that AEW was going to initially say, hey, they was going to do a video package with CM Punk and say, hey, CM Punk is all elite. Well, when it was trending that it was CM Punk Day, I'm thinking Tony Khan was like, hey, CM Punk, we need you to come out, man. Speak to the crowd. Go ahead and get them juiced up. We know we got you on the card for September 5th, but we need you to come out here, man, and go ahead and get, in your ring gear. We need to sell some T-shirts. You come out, you say your little piece. That's why he wasn't ready to say what he said, or he didn't have a speech prepared because everything was kind of on the fly. Well, because it was on the fly and it got such a rounding, just an amazing ovation, WWE panicked and was like, damn, we don't know that we have Brock Lesnar for sure. Is Brock Lesnar enough to offset what CM Punk just did at AEW? So what we got to do? We got to bring back Becky Lynch, but how can we maximize the fact that we brought back the man, Becky Lynch, because nobody knew that she was coming back. So how can we make this how can we overshadow the fact that CM Punk came back in AEW and it was glorious on a Friday show that's not even their main show, and it outdo what you did at SummerSlam? So how can we get those views? How can we get that jaw dropping moment? We get Becky Lynch back. We bring her in. She beat up Carmelo, throw her out of the ring, and then she dominated Bianca Flair. It took them forever to get her to where she is.
You just combined two of the greatest women wrestlers today, Bianca Flair.
I mean,
He
not
did.
Bianca. I mean, yeah, how's that? Yeah,
Bianca Belair, gotcha.
yeah, Bianca Blair. Like I'm just like they buried her quick, and like she was an afterthought. So if I'm Bianca, like how do I see what y'all? I mean, how I feel in like how I am in this business. I thought I was gonna be the one that carry the strap, carry this company on my back until what I'm saying, Becky Lynch come back, or like at least start a feud or something. They missed it on this, bro. They missed it.
Just imagine if there was nothing wrong with Sasha Banks and they just pulled Sasha and said, hey, we're going to let Becky win this. We don't want you to have to go against her. We'll let you feud with Becky later. How does that make you feel if you're Sasha? Oh, sorry, you don't get your SummerSlam moment. We're pulling you. Like Becky Lynch is getting that moment.
Because we got to put the strap on Becky.
That would, to me, if I'm a wrestler, I'm like, well, I don't want to be here then at that point, because then you mean nothing to them. And I think both pops between Brock and Becky doesn't really hold a candle at CM Punk.
Nah,
but I will say about the Brock Lesnar one, he looked in great shape. He slimmed down. He looked good.
He didn't slim down, Gary. He
was
has a
not
beard. He has a beard, bro.
No,
that's the only
look at his
difference.
body. His body is not as wide as
bro. He has a beard, and he never. The hell are you talking? And he has a ponytail, bro.
I'm about to say Gary has a ponytail brother now. I think that's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I can't say this though. WWE, they missed the ball. They missed the ball twice. SummerSlam, and I'm gonna tell you why they missed the ball twice. And again, I'm gonna have the same attitude September 5th when AEW has their pay-per-view. I'm gonna grade it the same way that I'm grading WWE. So Darby Allin and CM Punk and everybody that's on that card give us a great show. Not because we hold a candle or even move the needle when it comes to people listening to us about wrestling, but because we care as fans. So give us your best. But as it relates to WWE, man, they missed it on that. And the Bobby Lashley Goldberg, like what the hell? Why?
I actually think it changed in the middle of the match. I think Goldberg truly got hurt at some point, and then the whole thing just flipped because of it.
It was awful, bro. It was absolutely I was like, okay, I knew it was gonna be bad, but I thought maybe they was gonna do like some big man work. He was gonna hit him with, one or two, three spears, and it was just gonna be legendary, like spear for spear. But none of that happened. It was just
Well, if you look at it, so Goldberg struggled picking him up for a suplex, struggled picking him up for a body slam, almost threw him on his head whenever he threw him off the top ropes, and then he tried, and then he almost landed on his head, getting like hip tossed or something
yeah.
from him. I think he was truly hurt. I think he got hurt at some point in that match, and everything flipped. The
Uh-huh.
whole script of the match flipped.
Okay.
Well,
So
did y'all see the video that was going around yesterday where MVP hits Goldberg in the knee and it takes him like 2-3 seconds to react to it? It's like he almost forgot to react to it. It's hilarious.
Hey, and then on top of that, and with me saying that, I do have to say this, and y'all can give me shit all y'all want to because I know y'all don't like it. The good matches that came out of this weekend, I'm gonna say CM Punk coming back. Granted, it wasn't a match, but I have to say that because there was nothing on the AEW card that just kind of really jumped out at me.
Well, it wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a normal TV.
Yeah,
It's
it
different.
wasn't a pay-per-view. Right. It was normal TV, but I'm gonna grade it from this weekend, just like I said. But I do have to say this about WWE. There was two matches that I was very impressed with, and I'm gonna go match of the night. I'm gonna go Seth Rollins and Edge. That was a really good match in my opinion. And the match after that, which I know this is where y'all give me a hard time, but the John Cena and Roman Reigns match wasn't bad, bro. It was actually really
Well, you're not going to
good.
get that from Time because Time loves both of them.
Okay, but I'm talking about you. It was a really good match, though. So I'm
Yeah.
basically talking to you. It was a good match, bro. And the way that they ended it with Brock Lesnar coming back, added the feud to the fire. Because now, what does Paul Heyman do? Like, is this a custody battle? Like, I mean, what does
Yes.
Brock want? Like, there's a lot that you can do there, and I think this right here is the only thing that WWE has because Paul Heyman is really, really good on the mic, and I
Well,
think that he can really just his reactions and everything can really sell this match.
well, I will say that Time's thought of The Rock being at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns isn't looking very well just because of Lesnar being back. I feel like they're going to try and build this feud out and have it something at WrestleMania because you can't do Cena versus Lesnar again. I feel like it's going to be, and again, Reigns and Lesnar's been done multiple times. It's a different type of Reigns now, so it would be interesting because it's basically you're making Brock the hero, and then
Yeah.
Reigns is the villain now. So you're basically flipping roles.
Fatal four-way coming to WrestleMania.
There's no point for Rock.
John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and The Rock, baby. Come
But
on.
the thing is, there's no
Yeah.
benefit for The Rock to be in
I
it.
know.
No.
It would have made sense of what you were saying that if Reigns got ahead of himself and saying he's the best of this, blah, blah, all his best in his family and stuff like that, and forgetting about The Rock, then you can build it up.
Right, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is how I think you can bring him into it. Obviously, you got the chief family angle with Roman Reigns.
Right.
You got Cena, who's been taking over Hollywood with different movies he's been in.
Hey, I just want to make sure I put this out there. I don't know if any of y'all seen Suicide Squad, but John Cena was fucking trash in that movie. I don't know if that was just the character. I don't know if like he lost his acting skills from the Fast and the Furious series, but it was ass, man. His acting was absolutely atrocious.
That movie
and
was
I'm gonna
terrible.
point that out.
Oh, I will say that movie was better than the first Suicide Squad.
And that's
ain't
all.
saying much.
Yeah, it's not saying much at all. I'm just letting you know, like I understand that like he's a very big actor to some people, but that role right there, he probably I don't know when they say, hey, I don't know what it offered him, but I'd have turned that one down.
Well, don't worry, he's got a TV show of the same character coming out soon. But finish your thought, Time.
Well, I was just saying, so you got that, and then as far as Brock Lesnar, you kind of always have that Brock and Rock connection. They've had some epic battle. I don't know how you work Brock into the angle as much, but everybody knows The Rock's my favorite wrestler of all time. So anytime I get to see The Rock come back, I would love to. I don't think he has So, like you say, he doesn't have anything to gain from coming back, so I don't know that he will, unless he just has the itch to come back. But
I think it would have to be like this. I think he'd come back for the Chief story because the storyline would have to make sense for him. I don't think he would do it for a fatal 4-way. But to me, going to the matches, we were talking about matches. I agree with you. I think the Edge and Seth Rollins was the best. I think the second best was the Triple Threat Women's Championship match, and then I thought the Reigns and Cena was third.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that was so obvious. We all knew Charlotte.
Well, we knew who was gonna win.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it was still entertaining.
Really?
We knew who was going to win the Reigns one, too, because Reigns said he's walking away if he loses. He's not walking away. He's one of the hottest guys right now.
Yeah, but like they made it. It was very intense. It was like with him being
the only one you didn't know who was going to win was the Edge and Seth Rollins because it could have went either way.
Yes, and that's why it was the best match because they did a really good job of shielding who was going to win it and how they were going to win it.
I'm sorry, Time. I hate to do this to you, but I am not a fan of them just to hype up Roman Reigns calling John Cena the GOAT because it is not the GOAT.
Who called him that?
That's all they said in the whole announcing. They were like, oh, it's Roman Reigns the best now versus the GOAT, beating the GOAT. That's all they kept talking about, how Cena's the GOAT and trying to hype Reigns up that he's beating the GOAT. He's not the GOAT. I'm sorry. He's not even top 5.
I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Cena, but I don't think he's. I like Reigns too, but yeah, I wouldn't put Cena in my top 5 of all-time wrestlers. I do think he's great, and he carried a generation of wrestling when they needed somebody. But yeah, no, yeah, he's not the GOAT, not even close. But and speaking of, this is kind of a sidetrack, but while we're talking about fighting and wrestling and stuff, and it kind of just popped in my head. Kind of tying into D'Angelo's Steeler ties, have y'all seen that video of the wife yelling at the Steeler fan in front of her, and they're going back and forth? It's a guy, and the husband's trying to tell her to calm down, sit down, and then she smacks him. The guy gets upset, and then obviously the husband jumps in trying to protect his wife and gets himself knocked out.
Yes.
What do y'all think about that situation? Are you talking to your wife afterwards? What you mad?
Okay, so this is what's funny because Gary looked like he hadn't seen it, but you go ahead and watch it, Gary, because it's only like maybe 20-30 seconds. It's actually a really funny video, but because we know the end result, not knowing the end result, this guy did the absolute right thing. Hey, he was trying to calm her down, like, hey, look, we don't want this problem. We on higher ground, and then when you fight and you got higher ground in the stadium, you're gonna lose because the guy that you punching down, he punching up, he got a little bit more force, and he got caught, knocked him out cold, and it was because I don't know what they was arguing about. I really don't. I honestly don't. First of all, if you know that your husband can't fight or he's susceptible to get knocked out, don't start no shit with nobody. If you know that your man ain't got the jaw that he need to have in order to protect you, it was bad, bro. It was awful because it looked like it could have been prevented because she obviously got upset. He was upset. They was yelling, but she ain't had to put her hands on him. Everybody wrong in this instance. Her putting her hands on him putting her hands on her, him putting his hands on him. Like nobody should have put their hands on anybody at a preseason football game. If you're not an Oakland Raider fan, bro, and you're playing the San Francisco 49ers, this kind of conduct is not condoned. We don't condone this.
Right.
You know how you avoid this?
How's
you
that?
Don't go.
You don't
watch it on TV and you don't have to worry about it.
All right.
I just watched it. She screwed her husband basically.
Right.
Like, what do you do as a husband? Do you have to fight or do you sit there like, hey?
He was trying to fight. He was just trying to separate because he thought he was going to swing at her. And I don't think he was trying to fight to start. But then when he started swinging, because he did connect with the wife once. Yeah. And then I think that's when he went. But at that point, hey, it's not doing well for you. And he looked older too. He didn't look like a spry young guy. He looked older who got rocked.
Yeah, he did. And like, so what are you, as an eyewitness, like, what are you telling people? Like, they happen, like the cops come over there, They put my man in handcuffs that just knocked this other man out. Do you be like, hey, no, he ain't started. He
Well,
just
if you hear at the end of the video, the people in the background are saying, I know you probably didn't listen to it with sound, Gary, but at the end of the video, people are saying, she slapped him first. She
I
slapped
think
him.
they both should. Because he did hit the woman too. So he did both. So I think, but he hit the guy who's just trying to defend at that point.
He was throwing haymakers, bro. I'm
So
talking about
he was arrested.
bro.
The only one that's not arrested is the husband that got knocked out.
It was the take the glasses off it for me. That's when you like, all right, that's when you need to start reevaluating. I'm like, oh, he getting ready.
I got another question that's off topic that I had this weekend that popped up in my head. It's a really good question, but it's kind of confusing. Hear me out. You'll get what I'm asking. So if there's a 46-story building and you're on the 13th floor, or maybe you're on the 5th floor of the hospital, and the hospital catch on fire or this building catch on fire, you don't supposed to use the elevators, correct?
Correct.
How do you get people down in wheelchairs?
Carry them.
Bro, if I'm on the 33rd floor, you want me to carry? Boy.
Carry them or put them in the little food thing that goes up and down. and just lower them down. Do you lose it?
Bro, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You've seen the movie. You've seen H2O. They get that thing and pull themselves up to the next level to get away from Michael Myers. Same thing.
Bro, this is a serious question.
I'm giving you a serious answer. Hospitals, I'm sure, have them. So why wouldn't you just do that if you can't use the elevator?
Those things are called dumbwaiters, bro.
There you go. They go to the dumbwaiter.
What? The reason why I asked this question is because even, you know what I'm saying, on the 5th floor of a hospital, there's no ramp to get them down. And if you're not supposed to use elevators when the building or the structure is on fire or whatever, how do you get those down?
Legit, honestly, though, other than the dumbwaiter, which is probably the obvious choice, I think you just take them in their wheelchair and you go down backwards. Because long as they're in it, you have control, and you're in control how fast they're going down. Long as you walk down you're gonna have to walk down the steps backwards, but that way you have control of the car because you can't go forward, but you can bring them down backwards so they're going down, leaning back like you're in a chair, and then you walk them all the way down. It might take a long time, but that would be the only way you could do it. And honestly, I'm willing to bet that hospitals probably don't have people that aren't able to hire up for that reason, though.
But see, but if they're on the 5th floor, I mean, they're in the hospital for a reason. There's some people that can't leave their hospital beds. So if they can't leave their hospital beds and they're not on the 1st floor, because ICU is the 1st floor is usually, and that's because of that reason, is because, you know, getting up and down the steps or the elevator is very tough for those that are in ICU. But even those that are like, you know, are doing well but still can't get out of the bed, if you got to push them out in the bed and something happens and you don't have an elevator, bro.
I think you're carrying the gurney down the stairs.
Listen to what you're saying, Gary.
What
How
else are
many
you gonna
doctors and nurses you know that are strong?
What are you gonna do,
carry
though?
people?
But
what
you don't
the
have
hell
a
is
choice.
wrong with you?
But you don't have a choice at that moment.
I was giving you time to think, and
there's
you
there's
squandered that
time.
opportunity by just jumping out there and just throwing
Because
out.
the best options are the dumbwaiter, and you're gonna have to carry them, or you just got to walk them down the wheelchair backwards. That's the only options. If the elevators don't work, there's not another way.
Well, it's not that they don't work. It's just that when a building's on fire or any collapse or anything like that, like how are we getting our handicapped out?
That's how. I just told you those 3 ways.
Okay, all right.
Throw them over your shoulder and carry them down. Like
I don't even know why I talk to you, bro. Tom, can you give me
Tom,
something?
what would you think?
Can you give me something professional, man, that'll sound a lot better?
I'm also willing to bet there's an elevator that is made that can withstand that type of stuff, so they can use it at hospitals. And now, if you're in a work building, there's probably nothing you can do. You got to take the stairs.
Yeah, I can't believe what you said, bro. You said put them in one of them things and let them down.
The dumbwaiter. Correct.
Why not? That might be the best way, D.
Now come with something professional, Tom. Give me something. Give me your thoughts, Tom. How do you get somebody down that's handicapped or they can't necessarily do it themselves, and it's an emergency and you can't use the elevator, maybe you're on the 33rd floor or maybe you're on the 5th floor of the hospital, how do you get them out? And getting them out, is that a staff responsibility? Because now am I responsible for all my patients here? Again, I don't know anything from a medical side. So if you medical personnel and you're listening to this, please in the comments somewhere answer this question for us.
Well, I just don't see what was wrong with Gary's answer.
Exactly.
Because
I hate y'all, man.
Well, the first thing is, so you obviously you probably don't have that sort of contraption set up. But so what are you going to say? You're going to say, "Oh, I'm about to throw all these folks over my shoulders and just He-Man walk down 33 flights of steps." I mean, first of all, that's a big ass hospital if you got 30.
That's why I said the 5th floor, bro. That's why I said the 5th floor.
But I mean, I'm sure there's protocols for that situation. We'll have to find somebody that's in the medical field and see what they say. But I mean, at a certain point, you can only do so much because it's not like you got a bunch of nurses and doctors that walk around that can squat 200 pounds.
Exactly. He talking about some kid in the damn jersey. What? I'm so over you, Gary. I promise you I'm over you. So, like at a hospital, when the power go out, maybe the elevators are controlled with power. The power go out because they had a storm or a flood or something happened. How do you get them down into safety if you're on a time crunch? That's all I wanted to know. So people out there listening, it'd be great if you can give us like a professional answer. Like if that's in your like handbook or HR, just tell us what the rules are as it relates to that. But go ahead, Tom, what we got?
Well, next thing I wanted to talk about is something that Gary brought up in our group chat about old Sha'Carri Richardson.
Okay.
Everybody's mad about her missing the Olympics, and then apparently she went and did this runoff with the Jamaican girls that were in the Olympics did. And what did you say, Gary? She finished second to last?
I think either second to last or last.
It's ninth. She finished ninth. We're not saying last because she didn't finish last. Because if she'd have finished last, she did. She finished ninth place. But let's make sure we get this straight. Sha'Carri Richardson was the sixth. She's the sixth ever. The only problem is the ladies that she's running against is the second and third fastest ever. Ever. So they're already faster than her. One. Sha'Carri took a month off. Again, I'm not defending Sha'Carri at all. I'm not defending what she did. I've never in my life did professional track, but I have did track in high school, and I did a little bit, dabbled around in college, but not enough for what I'm saying to be like professional analysis, and you can hold me to it. So I just want to make sure I give you my credentials before I talk about this. So she took a month off, like not competing. Obviously, she was still training, but training and competing is completely different. You know that, I know that, Gary, and I'm sure you know that as well, Tom, through your rec basketball with, your 2 or 3 games you win a year out of 25. So we all understand that. So with her not competing, she ran an 11-1. That's what she ran. When she was the 6th fastest woman ever, which was a month ago, she ran a 10.72. Let me put this in perspective for y'all. The fastest she's ever run was the 10.72. The ladies that she was competing against, when she ran this weekend, the fastest one ran a 10.5. So when she says like she's gonna be back, like even if you're back at a 10.7, that's still gonna put you in third place. Still gonna put you in third place. Still gonna put you in third or fourth place, and it's not even gonna be an issue as long as, because this girl over in Jamaica, she getting faster. She getting faster and faster as the track meets go on. So as it relates to Sha'Carri Richardson, I love what she said pre and post interview. Like, I completely understood where she was coming from. She's a competitor. She's a warrior, and I like where she is. What I don't like is the fact that people are making fun of her. The only difference between Sha'Carri Richardson, the only difference between Simone Biles, and this is my opinion, y'all can get mad at me, come at me, bro, I'll take it. The difference between Sha'Carri Richardson, Simone Biles, and Osaka is the fact that she pulled out the 200 meters not because she had mental health issues, but because she just wasn't doing well. I respect it. I respect it. She could have easily, with no questions, because at that point in time, you just came in ninth. Your mental health is affected. It's 100% affected. There's nobody out there that's gonna tell me because she went into that race thinking that she really had a chance, and to come in ninth and to say what she said after, like I applaud her for that. I really do, and I applaud her not because she was showing how strong she was, but because she just told it how it was. Like, hey, I'm gonna be back. This is not I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be back.
Yeah, and
That's my thoughts on.
I only brought it up because I thought it was interesting because I saw a bunch of people jumping on her and jumping down her throat and all that stuff. And I just thought it was something that should be brought up and talked about. Like, yeah, she didn't perform well, but who knows how she would have performed at the Olympics? She could have performed differently. And like you said, she hasn't competed in a month. That's the big difference if you're not competing. You're training, all that kind of stuff. Hussein Bolt's lost some races when it wasn't like for the championship, and then because they say he coast or whatever, but he still lost, and then he comes out and shows out. So you got to give her time. She'll get her chances again. And I think the true test will be when she keeps racing and keeps getting back into it, and then she keeps racing them. We'll find out the truth. Like, we'll find out if she gets back on track. And that's the thing is, I think she'll get back on track. Now, will she catch those three?
She ain't beating them damn girls from Jamaica, bro.
Will she catch those three? Probably not.
She's not going to catch those three, bro. They're getting faster. Now she's playing catch up. Bro, she's playing catch up.
I agree. But the thing is, even if she raced, would she have beat them three at the Olympics? I don't know, because she'd have had the PR to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy to do that. But there's only one Olympian that I know that PR'd every time he ran, basically, and that was Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps. Basically, they always PR'd.
Yeah, because they were increasingly peaking every time, and he would slow down so he can break his record because there's bonuses in breaking your record. And I totally understand. You play the system, and he did exactly that. Every time he ran, he was a spectacle, and that's what the lady in Jamaica is right now. I can't think of her name, but she's chasing greatness. Like she's faster than Flojo or getting there. She's getting there.
Right. Well,
what you got, Tom? What you think about this? I mean, you on the outside kind of looking in. I mean, and when I say on the outside looking in, like I don't know if you ran track or if you did, the field aspect of track and field. I don't know. Right. So if you got some hidden talent that you didn't want, you hadn't told us, please let us know.
Well, let me say this. I've never run track and field. I did always want to do one of the field events, but it was during tennis season, and so tennis always came first, and so I wasn't able to.
I hate you, bro. I hate you.
But no, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, maybe it's kind of what we've talked about, people that are taken away before, while they're too young. So maybe she didn't get her chance to shine in the Olympics, so she had her shine moment, in the trials. So if she shines in the trials, goes to the Olympics, and gets like seventh, what's happening to her? She's it's like, okay, she was a cool athlete that had a moment. Now she's like the face of this marijuana smoking for athletes. She had her moment. People feel like it was taken away. And so, I don't know. Maybe they did her a favor by taking her out of the Olympics a little bit. I'm just saying.
Hey, you got a point. You got a point, Tom. And I don't agree with you on certain things like this, but you got a point. Maybe this was the Olympics' way of protecting her, because I have to say this though. I got to say this, Gary. She was even surprised what she did when she ran the 100. Nobody was saying Sha'Carri Richardson's name before she just kind of popped up out of nowhere. So for you to say that she will be back, her being back is a 10.72, and that's her best. That's not close enough, Gary. It's not close enough.
It's close enough for fourth, third, maybe.
So what are we really celebrating here? We celebrate the fact that
only one that matters is first.
Somewhat competing, or exactly. So are we talking about? What do you mean she'll be back? What are we talking about here?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, hey, D, I need some advice from you.
Okay, what you need?
So I am going to visit our good friend Gary Barnage.
He's
weekend.
actually coming. Okay.
What?
I need to know. Do I need to get Gary to send me the form that I'm gonna have to sign to come stay at his house ahead of time?
Do it when you show up.
No, so it's electronic. You sign it on his phone. So
Oh,
he gonna
okay.
tell you, you don't have to read it. Just sign here, and this is literally how it's gonna go. You're gonna come in. You're gonna knock on the door. He gonna be like, it's gonna already be open, but he ain't gonna you ain't gonna know that though. So you gonna knock on the door. He gonna come to the door and be like, hey, how you doing? He gonna be like, yeah, man, just sign right here, date right here, and he gonna be like, what is this? You gonna be like, oh, it's just a standard waiver form. It's no big deal. Like if you get hurt doing anything, or you go to sleep and you wake up and your butt sore, I have nothing to do with it. Like it's just normal stuff.
And next thing I know, Braden's name has changed to Gary Barnage.
No, that's the second one.
Oh, that's the second form.
Garina or Gary's always got to be the name. You don't have a choice. It's legal binding.
So give me some advice too, D. What do I need to pack to go to Gary's house? Like, what do I need to be ready to do?
It's gonna be 1,000 degrees at Gary's house. First of all, and in the part of Florida that he live in, I'm pretty sure it's the devil's underlining in their underwear. That's how hot it is where he lives. And he's gonna tell you don't have to worry about alligators. He lying. It's Florida. Don't listen to that lie. He's only seen 3 alligators, and my wife see 12 on our way here to his house.
That is correct. I've only seen 3
all the time. He's only seen 3, but he ain't looking. We looking. And you're gonna have fun, man. It doesn't matter what you pack, man, because Gary has everything at his house. Super cool place to stay, man. His dog's cool, and his dad is really cool, man. That's my favorite. Well, my second favorite.
What's his dad's name again?
Brian.
Oh, he knows it.
I know it.
He's locked in now.
I was just with him. And I heard her call his name. I heard Demeter call his name like 100 times. And I was just like, and every time she would call, I was like, who the hell is that? And I was like, oh, it's that.
Well, you gotta understand, I call his dad.
Yeah.
So everybody's dad, mom.
Oh, bro, it's so much easier. It is so much. And when anybody asks me to, like, who, dad, that's easy. Mom, that's simple. But when they say like real name, I'm completely lost. Completely.
Right.
Again, you have to remember, he just learned how to spell my last name like a year ago.
I did. I did. It used to be Gary B.
Gary B.
Gary, brother. Gary.
I love it.
Yeah. So just real quick, football season is upon us. I understand we're in the preseason right now.
I also had my first fantasy draft.
Really?
I did.
Okay. So football season is upon us. If you can pick one team to win it all this year, that's not the Chiefs or the Bucks, who are you taking?
Time, you go first.
It's gonna be them Carolina Panthers, boys.
No, that's not realistic.
Why, Tom? Why? Since you want to be just all belligerent and act like you ain't got no damn sense.
So I would say pick a team that's going to win, that you think can win the Super Bowl other than those two, and then also pick a team that you think can surprise people.
Okay, I'll say this. For real, to win the Super Bowl, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I can't think of anybody except them Carolina Panthers, boys. Hey,
I hate him. What you got, Gary? You want me to go?
Hear me out. The Panthers are gonna have a revamped defense. I think Sam Darnold has potential.
I like Sam Darnold. I will not lie there. I think he got the short end of the stick having Adam Gase as his coach.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say. And the weapons that they have around him at wide receiver, running back, that offense should be powerful. And they got a coach.
Well, hold on. You said the weapons at running back and receiver. That's the same player.
No, come on now. Don't do that to DJ Moore, rope your ass. Come on.
I know. I'm just.
All right. Well, what's y'all's? Because I ain't gonna lie. I think the Panthers are a dark horse this year.
I think D'Angelo fell asleep. Sorry.
I fell asleep. I'm sorry. I was.
Go ahead, D. Tell us yours.
I was asleep. I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to Tennessee Titans because they got Julio Jones. They got a receiving core. They got a somewhat okay quarterback. Their defense is legit, and as long as they got that hoss back there running back, it's a chess game on whether or not you're gonna play 7 or 8 in the box, and you're doing it against a quarterback that is a game manager, not necessarily a game winner, because they're so ferocious in the backfield. So now they got that true number one, and I'm not talking about Julio Jones being their true number one. I'm saying that he's going to be a solid number 2 or 3 for them if he can play that role, and their defense is solid. So I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. I think they have what it takes to make it to the next level, barring the quarterback don't screw them. As you talk about the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold is what Sam Darnold is. I don't give a damn what type of coaching that you have or what kind of team that you put around somebody. If you're good, then you're good. It doesn't matter.
I don't agree with that.
You're good.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah. So if that's
I don't agree with that. You think that's true?
100%. You could put Peyton Manning. You could put Peyton Manning. You could put Tom Brady. You could put Drew Brees. You could put.
Can't use those guys because they run the offense.
Hey, that's the litmus test, baby. If you're gonna be
Sam Darnold as a rookie, he was told this is the way you got to do things,
bro. If you're gonna Patrick Mahomes, I can keep going. Josh,
Patrick Mahomes had a year off.
Josh, the quarterback in Buffalo.
He didn't do good his first few years. He really turned it on.
I get that, but what I'm saying is you're blaming Adam Gase.
100%.
I mean, you're blaming Sam Darnold's downfall on Adam Gase. We understand that he's a horrible coach.
Correct.
We understand that. Sometimes as a quarterback and as a player, you got to overcome bad coaching. You know that. I know that. We know that. If he couldn't do it, what make you think he's going to do it in Carolina with a college coach, with a couple of receivers, that's going to just light the world up, with a quarterback that's never lit the world up? You're going to put something on him. You giving this guy this Cam Newton treatment, and he's no Cam Newton. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't. I think Adam
he's Cam
Gase,
Newton, but Gase. That's what. Go ahead, Gary. Gase is just terrible.
Adam Gase got his pub because he was the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator. Adam Gase did nothing but show up, and he got to reap the benefits of it.
But if that's the litmus test, then that's who I got to compare Sam Darnold to. If Sam Darnold's not close to what it is that we're talking about in terms of overcoming bad coaching,
you can have that opinion. I say give it a year and see how he does in the Carolina, and then we'll rehash the Sam Darnold conversation.
I'm not giving him no year. They don't give anybody else a year. How long do we need to get acclimated? How long does it take? It didn't take Ben Roethlisberger 3 or 4 years to get
Adam
acclimated.
Gase either.
Nah, he didn't. You're right. Okay. Now you said enough. You said enough right there. All I'm saying is I don't think that it's going to be the Carolina Panthers, but I'm interested to hear
I don't think it will be either.
You're going to pick, though, because it better not be the Baltimore Ravens.
No, I would like to say Baltimore. I would like to say Cleveland. I just don't think either one of them could make it past the Chiefs on that side. So, honestly, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers proving a statement and walking off in the sunset.
There's no way. There's no way it happened. There's no way, bro.
He was MVP last year for a reason. I just could see it happening. My dark horse team, who I would like to see, who I think is going to surprise a bunch of teams that do decent, is the Chargers.
The Chargers.
I'm going to give you my hot take right here. I don't think Green Bay make the playoffs.
Oh, I'll take that bet.
I don't think Green Bay make the playoffs because it's a disgruntled quarterback. And who's going to shock you this year is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to make it farther than the Green Bay Packers. Because you don't know the work ethic. See, you don't know the work ethic. But
I'll put 20. Green Bay makes it further than Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Oh, there you go.
20.
Yep. That good?
Good.
Okay. Hey, wait. Speaking of bets and everything, didn't D'Angelo go?
Hold on. Do you want to take Carolina? We'll get further than Pittsburgh in Green Bay.
Do you want to throw in there? You want to throw your
I got 20 on it. I got 20. Let's go.
All right. Done.
Okay. Pot good.
Technically, it's 40, but if you lose to both of us.
Right, but I'm only. I'm.
No.
You said that good.
No. The way that it work, it's a $60 pot. Whichever one of those 3 teams go the farthest, We know Carolina ain't gonna do it. We know this a wrap. We know this. You not even you. Thanks for your donation, Don.
Thank you.
Thanks for your donation.
Just wait. I'm gonna save this podcast.
Yeah, you.
Hey, but speaking of bets, did we ever hear about how the kids responded to D'Angelo being at practice?
Oh,
So
hey.
he didn't get a full chance because we got rained out. So he
Ah,
got a chance to talk to the kids. He didn't do any of it because we got lightninged out. So we actually didn't get to do much. So he didn't get to do much with them.
okay.
Okay,
Dang
so
it.
let me make sure I say this, and then I'm gonna be done. Okay, I'm gonna be done. When I first went to Gary's high school, and I can't make this up. I'm telling y'all my true thoughts. Y'all can judge me how y'all want to judge me, but this is basically how I look at football teams. You're in Florida. Not only are you in Florida, but you want to compete at Florida schools. Gary and them, when I first came out there to coaching, they had 3 black players, bro. None, like nobody on the coaching staff. I was like, Gary, that's what y'all problem is, bro. Like you ain't got enough flavor on the team. So this is what I was basing that bet on, is what I saw the last time I came. Well, I didn't know they got a whole new coaching staff. I think it's like 3 white people on the team now. Like, it's completely different. Bro, I was walking past people that look older than me, and I was like, what? He like, yeah, that's our live. And I'm like, oh, bro, y'all look like a junior college over here. So
But you feel like you're in trouble now, Steve?
bro, I'm not backing out the bet. I'm just telling you, I'm just letting you know that things have changed since the last time I'd have been to Florida. Either they done put some booster shots or something in these kids, some B12 shots, or putting something in the water, or Gary and him being an NFL player is really helping that program over there.
So Gary, is this Friday y'all's first regular season game, or is that a preseason
It
game?
is. This Friday is our first.
I'm gonna be
season
there,
game.
ready to just.
Are you coming to? Are you going to go to it?
Yeah, I'm going
All
to
right,
the
perfect.
game. So, hey, I'm gonna be ready to report back to D'Angelo whether or not
I'm
he's.
I'm letting you know right now, bro. If after talking to that running back they got over there, that running back's a grown man, bro. He is a grown man, and I'm pretty sure he's 22. I'm not. I can't. I'm telling you right now, his voice was super deep. His mustache and beard was thicker than mine, and I'm pretty sure he got 3 or 4 kids. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm just letting you know that birth certificates later on will play a very important role in how his school go farther for sure.
I will say the kids were disappointed. They did want to talk to D and hear from him, but he didn't get a chance to. So
Yeah,
we'll have to reschedule that one.
Yeah, they have grew up though. They grew up big time.
Well,
Like,
if they listen to the Cinnamon Sugar podcast, they know they might have been spared probably an hour-long sermon if D'Angelo would.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Hey,
No,
but
you gotta understand, it's 137 degrees outside. D's not talking longer than 30 seconds.
Oh man, that's
true.
all I got for him. Hey, yeah, we're gonna bring this thing up. We're gonna break it down, and it's over. Like that's what we're gonna do in the heat. But it was
Good luck, guys. Bye.
yeah, it was good going up there seeing Gary in his element. Like he's really taking it serious, and I was impressed with him. I didn't get a chance to tell him this, but I was very impressed with how serious he's taking his coaching job. Because the first time I went down there, like linemen and everything would like mess up, and he'd be like, "Shit, man, that's kind of on them, man. They got to get it together." But like we was in meetings, and I was just kind of sitting there, and like every time somebody would say something wrong, like Gary was taking it personal. I was like, "Damn, Gary, like ain't even your position." He was like, "No, they should know this," and like he was going through it, like he was. I was like, "Damn, Gary, that was impressive."
Problem is they've been doing it since January, everything. And I wasn't there for summer workouts. They did all this in summer workouts. I come back and I still learned it quicker. And they've been doing it since January. And I can pick it up in 2 days. That's what bothers me with that type of stuff, because it just shows they're not really trying to learn it.
Gary, you don't get the hell off this damn podcast. We're gonna end this podcast right here because you tripping. You are an NFL athlete.
That doesn't come with learning.
That
has nothing to do with learning.
Just listen. Yes, it does. You are used to extensive playbooks, and in high school you probably got 12 plays that y'all run. Y'all got about 12 plays.
I did we'll learn 4 offenses in 4 years in Cleveland. So
And you did an amazing job doing that. And you're gonna compare that to a high school playbook, bro. I was at y'all practice, and I could tell if it was run left, if it was run right, or if he was throwing to the right, or if he was throwing to the left. Because high school football is just that slow, and you're gonna compare them.
Well, so my problem is
January, you know that they developed that.
All I can base on is how it was when I played in high school. We never had issues learning the plays. We ran the plays. You didn't know, like we knew what we were doing, and it didn't take us a full year to learn it. That's all I can base it off of. And the thing is, it's taking guys a full year. That's what would bother me. And like if they repeat the same, like you said, as a coach, don't repeat the same mistake over and over again. That's one thing we never did when I played in high school. Yeah. You did not. You never made the same mistake.
Yeah, Gary was all offended and shit in the meetings. I'm like, bro, he don't know the answer. He keep giving you the same wrong
for 8 months prior, every day basically.
So I sat back, I watched it, and I was just like, oh, Gary is serious this year. Like either he's serious this year, I didn't see this side of Gary. Like he got upset, like, hey, that's the wrong call. Gary was making the calls, and like Gary is like he's not even the lineman coach. But he know all the lineman calls because he working the tight ends. He know all the calls. Like Gary was out there like getting in his like stance and showing them how to pass block. I was just like, damn, and like he engaging. Like this is Gary has really developed into like a fine coach here. You got a future.
You act like you've never been on an AFWB camp with me where we coach.
I have. It's different, and let me make sure I let everybody know this. When we do the camps outside of the country, we do them and we go through like a fine-tooth comb. We make sure that we don't assume that they know what's going on. We make sure that they know what's going on. Where when you in the States, we assume that you know what's going on. Whereas Gary's not. You had that assume when you first started coaching, and I could tell because I could see the difference now. Because when they don't know it, like you're really agitated about it. Like, hey man, like you really taking it serious, and that's why I was like, damn. Like Gary is like invested. Like he wants to win. Like he's a coach. And that's what I wanted to say that I was proud of, man. That like you feel like you taking it serious. Even if you lying to me, keep lying to me because you're doing a good job.
That is so. You know what? That is a heartwarming moment that we should end this podcast on. I am so proud of D'Angelo. You were able to say something nice to Gary. Now, Gary, you know what? Say something nice back to D'Angelo. Say something nice that you think about D'Angelo.
Hey, D, did you know Time's finally coming to visit me after 5 years?
Yeah, I don't believe it because he ain't got there yet. He told me he was coming to visit me, was in town, and still didn't come see me.
He did that twice to me. He came to Jacksonville twice and ignored me.
In town is relative. In town, 4 hours away from you, D'Angelo.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm gonna tell you what you did, man. You gassed me up, premium. Like when gas was high, he gassed me up. Like we're gonna come down here. He gave me like a full schedule when he was gonna come through.
You're gonna hold the baby. You're gonna do
man, you gonna see the baby. Like he in college now.
He bought us tickets for Carowinds and everything. He had the family pass.
Man, I'm talking about all that. And he no show, no call. And I was like, damn, is he all right? I texted him like, hey man, you okay? He was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm okay, man. How you doing? Like, oh, you just going to act like nothing? Like you just didn't ditch your whole schedule?
I don't know if that's better or worse. I at least got a text saying, hey, I'm not coming to see you. I don't know if that's good or not. And he was only 45 minutes away. Like
I didn't have a ride down there, first of all. But second of all,
he acts like Uber doesn't work in this area.
And actually in that area where my friend that lives there, he lives in Amelia Island, they actually don't have Uber there. Like you have to take a taxi.
What's with all these excuses, bro? Either you could do it or you can't. So are you going to visit Gary, or is this like you setting him up like you gassed me the one time?
The real thing is, I asked Gary to say something nice about you, and you see how he diverted to something else.
I was talking I feel like 4 things nice about him.
Anything nice to say about D'Angelo?
I like his wristband.
There you go.
Thank you. There it is. Who wins the shirt competition today?
I'm gonna say
it looked like Gary. Who do you have on your shirt, bro?
Ken Griffey.
Oh, Ken Griffey.
It's tough for you to beat Gary with that shirt,
you gotta understand. I'm pretty sure if we kept the competition, I'm winning like 37 to like 2. right now. It's
Well, that's
outrageous.
because I never wear a shirt while we're podcasting.
I know, because we don't show your face, so
Exactly.
you don't have to. But if you ever did, I'm nominating you.
So
Because
all right.
you're gonna have to recycle shirts. I'm not.
I don't have to recycle. Oh, you don't. You have not seen my closet if you think I have to recycle shirts.
Why do you always wear the same Will Smith shirt?
Well, hey, because you got to know the greatness. You got to know the great ones. But we appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast. We'll be back. I might be live. No, I think I don't know. I was gonna say I'm not gonna be. No, I'm not still gonna be in Jacksonville. Never mind. At first we talked about possibly live streaming the podcast, but I have to leave before then. So
I thought you was finna live stream these lies that you was about to. I'm glad you corrected it. I'm glad you corrected yourself that time.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Cinnamon Sugar Podcast. We out.
Hold up. Time.
What?
Time. We didn't talk about the 40. It's only fitting that we talk about the 40. Gary ran the 40, guys. Ladies and gentlemen.
About that last week.
Yes.
I know I only want to say this. Because I really want y'all.
Mute. And that is the episode. Thank y'all for listening. We will see you next week. Appreciate it.
You gotta say we out, Gary. That's how you turn it off. Say we out.
You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You are now listening to the Cinnamon and Sugar Podcast featuring D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage. You are now listening to